Hi everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Well, for me, it's the second most wonderful day of the year, and that's the day we decorate the dried flower Christmas tree around here. And I love doing a dried flower Christmas tree because I think it's just a wonderful celebration of the growing season, all the hard work that goes into growing cut flowers. I always save a little bit for us, dry a little bit for us so we can enjoy them on this tree. And I think I've been doing dried flower Christmas trees for maybe 15 years. I never really dedicated a tree just to dried flowers until we moved to this house and I started flower farming. But I would always add just like hydrangeas or sedum or dried roses to our big Christmas tree. But then when we moved here and I started flower farming seriously, I thought, I want to do just a tree decked out in dried flowers. Wouldn't that be beautiful? And I had seen the dried flower Christmas tree at Winterthur Museum and Gardens. And if you want some serious inspiration for a dried flower Christmas tree, go and check theirs out because it's amazing. It's absolutely ginormous and it's covered head to toe in flowers. All different colors, all different kinds of drying methods are used. So I'm pretty sure I have a picture of when I visited Winterthur, so I'll try to throw it up on the screen. My tree is a lot smaller than that. It's only a pencil tree that we're gonna be decorating, but I like doing the pencil tree because then I can really fill it up full of dried flowers. So I just wanted to take you along for the process because I know I've been talking about this dried flower Christmas tree here on the channel if you've been following along this season, so I thought you might like to see it come to fruition. I did probably share a video last season of the dried flower Christmas tree, just a minute or two, kind of like a quick overview. I actually had it here in the living room last year, and then I did a matching garland with dried flowers. This year I'm gonna put it in the dining room, just for something different. But I thought you might like to join me for this process to give you a little bit of inspiration, not just for a dried flower Christmas tree, but also just to get you thinking about maybe some flowers that you wanna grow specifically to craft with, whether it be on the dried flower Christmas tree like me, or, there's just so many crafts you can do with dried flowers. I mean, and in the winter time when, the frost has come, we've got all our bulbs in, we're just kind of in planning mode. It's nice to just have some flowers to work with to bring us some joy, in the kind of those dark and dreary months. So let's go over to the dining room where the tree is located at. I've got everything I hopefully need lined up on our dining room table, and we can decorate the tree. I'm also going to make some new ornaments out of dried flowers, and I hope it's just a nice, fun time together. So let me show you here on the table everything that we'll be putting into the tree. First, I like to start out with just some nice ribbon in the tree. You can see this ribbon is a little bit worse for wear because I said I've been doing this tree pretty much exactly like this for 5 years. Maybe it's the last year for this ribbon. And a bow I've been using for a long time. And then I have a couple of gold picks, which I may or may not use. Sometimes I use them, sometimes I don't. Now, as far as the dried flowers go, I thought I'd show you those. So this is the pink flamingo celosia. And I just like to stick most of the stuff in the tree, just like as if they were picks. Then we have the imperial blue larkspur. We have these beautiful Love and a Mist pods. I love that texture. It's almost like fall Christmas lights, isn't it? Then we have the beautiful Mexican bush sage, and I wish you guys could feel that. It feels like velvet and it smells great. It smells like sage, of course. Now, I have a whole bunch of straw flowers, but I think the orange and the yellow is a little bit too bright for my liking on this tree. So what I'm gonna do is probably just use the heads of like the pinks and the whites, and I'm going to glue them on these old balls that I'm not using anymore. So I think that will be fun. I have some gomphrena. I'm not sure if I'll use that or not because my mom said that she would like some for the tree that she's working on. I may save it all for her because I don't have too much. This here these are both limelight hydrangeas. This is a limelight that I picked earlier in the season when it was green, so a dried green. And then this limelight is the same bush, but I just picked it later in the season as it started to turn red. So now I kind of have that red and green. And I'm just now remembering I have a vase of Annabelle hydrangeas in the living room we can use too. Now here we have some yellow yarrow, the perennial yarrow. We have some beautiful feverfew. And then I have only just a touch of the Neo Rose Celosia. But it's all gonna go on this tree. So you can see it's a pretty small tree. I like this tree because it has what they call, I think, Chanel tips. So it gives kind of a nice frosted look. And I have a lot more dried flowers just around the house if we run out. Like, I know I made that wreath in a video, or there's just kind of dried flowers everywhere. So if we start to run low, we can just pick some from around the house. But I think for now, let's get started. Let's get the ribbon on, and then we'll get to putting in all these beautiful flowers. So now that I've got all the ribbons, the bows, and the gold strings of pearls into the tree, I'm gonna go in with all these dried flowers. And this is an artificial tree, so it's really easy to just stick the individual flowers into the tree and then manipulate the branches to have them stay in place. But if you were doing this on a real Christmas tree, you probably would want to go ahead in with some floral wire and just wire each stem into place, or any stems that are giving you trouble at least. And the only other thing that I really do is to make sure to use the biggest flowers first. So I'll go ahead and with the hydrangeas to start, and then I work my way down to the smallest flowers last, just so that those small flowers don't get lost in the tree as we go along. So now comes the most fun part. Let's put all these flowers in and see how it looks. This bloom is ginormous. I think I'll save it for something else. So guys, I just wanted to take a little pause here and show you how it is with just a small amount of hydrangeas. Honestly, if I wanted to stop here, I would be very happy with the tree. And one year I did just do all hydrangeas, but I think it's really beautiful to have the differing colors of the limelight, you know, the green earlier on and the red. Or even think like if maybe you had a frost already and you didn't pick any dried flowers, you know what you could do is just go ahead and pick the brown hydrangeas and spray paint them, maybe gold or silver, and do a tree just like this. Okay, I just want to take a pause here, but I'll get back to it now. the tree is coming together really beautifully, and I initially thought to stop here and make the Christmas balls from gomphrena and straw flower, but now I think I'm just not going to do that. I think it would be too concentrated of a look to have these huge balls of just one color, and I'm really loving the free-form look of this tree. It looks very Victorian and almost like a flower arrangement to me. I think it was something that really, if you had a craft room, you could probably leave it up all year round. So I'm just gonna go ahead and stick a few bunches of gomphrena and straw flower in there, and then I think we're gonna be done and we could take a look. I think I also might have forgot to mention that instead of just sticking just a few stems of each flower in there, aside from the hydrangea and things like maybe the yarrow, I'm sticking big bunches of the same flower in there together for bigger impact. So let's see these final touches go on, and then we'll take a final look. Also, I have made a complete and utter mess. Well, it's all done, and I think it turned out really great this year. I ended up using just things I grew in the garden, and I think it's just a wonderful celebration of a year of growing. So let me get you in a bit closer, because I know it's a little bit hard to see, inside especially. So I'll just do kind of a slow pan down so you can see how I did things up close. But if we had a bigger flower, I just stuck it in by itself like the hydrangea. And then for things like the celosia, the Mexican bush sage, the gomphrena, the larkspur, anything that has a really small stem, I did a good amount of branches all together. So it would make a nice big statement. Also, things that like with the hydrangeas, the bigger ones, I definitely put down at the base of the tree just so they wouldn't overwhelm the top. But I really love the feel of the tree this year. And I'm glad I left off any oranges that I had that were really that hot orange color. I think this is a nice kind of subdued pastel color. But isn't everything just beautiful? And you can go ahead and reuse all these flowers. I kept a pretty decent sized stem on these. So you could go back in after the season and make wreaths. You could make other projects. Or you could just choose to compost basically the whole tree. Besides, this is an artificial tree, so we can't compost that, but you could compost all the ornaments if you like. Well guys, I think that brings me to the end of the video. I hope it was enjoyable to watch this tree come together, and I hope it just gives you another reason to grow cut flowers, because even though the growing season's over, since I grew these things and dried them, I have so many flowers to work with come winter to keep me going, to keep my joy levels up high. And I think the wonderful thing too about this tree for us is that it's kind of become a tradition here. And my daughter's 10 now, and so maybe I only have 8 more years with her here at the house. I guess we'll see how that pans out. But I hope that as she moves on with her life, that she'll remember this tree, and that this is something kind of different that Mom did. And maybe she'll want to do it one day. Even if she doesn't want to do it, I hope it's a memory that she'll tie to me when I'm gone. So I'd love to hear if you have any special Christmas tree traditions that you do. I don't recall my grandma, who I talk about all the time, ever doing a dried flower Christmas tree, but what she would do is she would always have a Norfolk pine in her living room, and she would have these white lace angel ornaments all over them. That's all she would decorate it with. And then down in the basement was kind of the fun tree. where she had just a menagerie of ornaments. But I always remember that lace angel Norfolk pine. It'll be with me until the day I die, that memory, because she did it and nobody else I knew was doing that, so it's just a wonderful memory of her. Well guys, before I get too emotional, I think I'll end this video. I want to wish you happy gardening, and I think I also want to wish you a very Merry Christmas. Bye!